Hey everyone, guess who's back? It's Kamish, back here with week 6 previews. Season moving along pretty good here, and it's been really competitive. I'm sure everyone has seen the competitiveness this year. Let's just get right into it. So first off, we got myself 3-2, taking on the defending champion Chris and True North, sitting at 4-1. Looking at the lifetime history here, we've only played 3 times. I'm 2-1 lifetime. We split win and a loss in 2015, and then in 2016 I won by just over 10 points to go to 2-1 lifetime versus True North. I'm looking at this one. Baker and Odell, they have to wake up sometime, right? And I have a feeling they wake up at home against that Seattle defense. I think they find a way. In terms of looking at True North, I think Detroit is better than most people think. He does have Rodgers in Monday night primetime, but in Green Bay, which does kind of scare me a little bit, but it is against Detroit. I think they play him tough. Horror Business wins this one. That's my prediction. Next up, Luke and Too Good for a Name, 2-3, taking on Brian and 12th Man, 3-2. Lifetime here, 4-1. Lifetime for Luke and Too Good for a Name. He's owned Brian and the 12th Man. 2016 went 2-0. One of those wins was in the first round of the playoffs. And then in 2018, 2-1 for Too Good, which was last year. Played 3 times, and here they are playing again. When I'm looking at this one, Too Good for a Name has Brady versus the Giants Thursday primetime at home at One Patriot Place. He also has Michael Thomas, who will probably face no Jalen Ramsey. So good matchups there. Brian's guys have some pretty good matchups too, such as Rivers in primetime against a weak Steelers team. But I am going Too Good for a Name wins this one and goes to 5-1 lifetime against Brian and the 12th Man. Next up, we got Dusan, Sabatica Spartans 3-2, taking on Robert and Templars 2-3. First meeting for both teams, obviously, with Sabatica's first year. Sabatica getting some good news. Seeing Tevin Coleman come back. He had a pretty good game against the Browns. When I looked at Templars' side of things, he's in some serious bye trouble. After 2 straight wins, I'm sure he would love to get his 3rd straight win, make it a winning streak, but I don't think it's going to happen here. I think Dusan and Sabatica Spartans is the one that ends up victorious at the end of week 6. Next up, Milan in the 6, 1-4, taking on Lucas and Green Lightning, 1-4. Both teams are dismantling. Both teams in the Maple Leaf division. Complete bust for both original owners. For myself, I'm worried about that Dalen Dawkins trade. I think it might come back to haunt me against Lucas because it looks like Dawkins just got promoted to the roster. And then, for the 6, we saw Barber just go, so I'm wondering what happens with Matt Breida when he goes and how much he's worth if he does go. I originally had Green Lightning winning this one. I'm actually going to switch it to the 6. Both teams are just horrible, but I think the 6 is less horrible at this point, so I'm changing it to the 6 to win this one. Next up, we got M Unique and LA Island, 1-4, taking on Kristen Storm, 2-3, all-female battle. Last year, these teams did play. Storm won by less than 8 points, so it was a competitive matchup. So 1-0 for Kristen Storm. Both teams really not looking all that great, though. There's problems on both sides for sure. One of the problems for LA Island, back to Josh Rosen. Chase Daniels started a couple. Now it looks like it's going to be Josh Rosen. For Storm, RW3, does this guy look like an MVP? I don't know. We'll find out in Cleveland this week. If he performs well against that defense, the talks might continue. I do have Storm winning this one. I think RW3 and Lockett and them do just enough for Storm to beat LA Island. Next up, I got Joshua Life's a Mitch, 3-2, taking on Matthew, Cape Cod Sharknado, 1-4. Looking like a complete rebuild now for Matthew after his bust draft. Obviously trying to set himself up next year in that American division, and he can see how tough that American division has been. It's a good time for Mitch. to get Cape Cod Sharks. He does have a couple guys on the bye, Chicago guys, David Montgomery, A-Rob. So obviously with this being the first meeting between the two, I look at Cape Cod's team too. I didn't really see a quarterback there. So I got Life's a Mitch winning this one easily and getting the 4-2. Next up, Eric and Swahino, 3-2, taking on Norman, Canadian guy, 1-4. Obviously the first meeting for each, both first time in the league. I'm starting to look at Swahino's team. Is he a sneaky playoff team, or is he a pretender? We have to find out. But he's got guys like Tyreek Hill coming back here. DeAndre Hopkins is there. Melvin Gordon. Now we'll see what kind of role if it increases for him. So things are going in Swahino's way for sure. When I look at Norm's team for this matchup, he's got some of his very few good guys on the bye, such as Tariq Cohen. I think because of that, it's going to be an easy win for Swahino. He goes to 4-2 and right in the playoff mix. Next up, I got Adrian and Age Crew, 2-3, taking on Danny and Billsy Bobs, 4-1. First meeting between the two, obviously Adrian's first year here. Last week, what about a 60 burger for Deshaun Watson and Danny? That's going to be tough to beat when Watson's putting up 60 burgers. And now you add Alvin Kamara to that lineup. So, the big trade, huge trade, sacrificing the future and pretty much future trades because we had that rule that you can only trade away 5 of your first 10, I believe it was. So, I'll have to monitor that, make sure that we're not going over that. I'll be reviewing the trades here. I don't think anyone has yet, but I definitely need to keep an eye on that. I like what Adrian has accomplished. Considering he never drafted till whatever round it was. I never had him winning a single game to this point. He's 2-3, but I don't have him winning this one either. It's Billsy Bobs who will end up victorious, going 5-1 here. Next up, Fighting Geese, 3-2, taking on Deuce Bombers, 3-2. These guys were in the same division for, the 4 years that Deuce has been here, the West Division. Deuce is, let's see here. It looks like it's 4-2 lifetime for Fighting Geese, actually. Could be wrong. I think it might be just 3-2. Because Deuce went 1-0 in 2015, Geese 2-0 in 16, Deuce 1-0 in 17, and then Geese 1-0 in 18. So you have 3-2 lifetime for Geese. Pretty good competitive matchups between these two every time. But I still just don't trust Teddy B, even though he put up all those points last week for Geese. I have a feeling that Deuce, with his edge and the IDPs that he has, will be the difference in this game. And I think Deuce Bombers, after starting 0-2, rounds off 4 straight wins. He goes to 4-2. Plus, he just made that trade for Barber, so that'll help, obviously. Going into the game of the week now, we got Sean and Fallen Misfits, 4-1. Brandon and the Architect, 4-1. For Sean, he's been an original owner. I don't even know if he's ever been in the game of the week up until last week. But this one here, he's finally relevant. It's for the division. It's an all-American battle. It's actually could be for first in the league, to be honest. Last year, these teams played twice, and Misfits took both matchups, so he will hope that continues. What I'm looking and keeping an eye on is Hilliman will start for Architect at running back, so it looks like he will get a starting role there. But does it come at a cost of Evan Ingram being out? We'll have to look at the injury reports today. Misfits obviously adding Marquise Goodwin to bolster his offensive lineup. And then Architect, he keeps finding gems like David Mayo, who gets thrust into all these starting roles. But I wonder how long these temporary players will continue for him. When come playoff time, you don't want those temp players. You want the full-timers. But I had Architect originally winning this one. I'm going to stick to it. Even though Misfits looks pretty strong, I am going to go with Architect and stick to my original prediction. Anyways, guys, that's week 6. Hope you guys are enjoying everything so far. It's been great, and can't wait to see who makes the playoffs down the stretch. I was surprised I'm not in the playoffs, and that just goes to show you how competitive this year's been. It's been awesome.